There have been updates to the Behringer Wing firmware. They've released version 3.1 as of a few days ago in November 2025. I've been a bit busy working on other projects and testing other gear recently, and the old firmware has been running great, but it is time to get this one up to date and check out what they've changed. If you're looking for the procedure to do the firmware update, that is in the manual for the Wing consoles, and you can download that from their website as well. It's right down there at the bottom of the page next to all the other documentation. As ever, when you download firmware from most manufacturers, you'll get a text file in the zip package. It's usually a plain text file, but in this case, we've got a PDF, and they're really good about listing out what's been added, what's been changed, and what has been fixed for every firmware update. So be sure to check that out, and you can download it as well if you're curious without having to log in or anything, just over on Behringer's website. And I've sped up this recording just a little bit here so you don't have to see the whole thing, but from the time that you start the update through the entire reboot and then it finishing the update takes just underneath a minute in real time, which is pretty impressive. Here are the release notes for version 3.1 from that PDF I mentioned, and you can see they've made a handful of fixes to address bugs that have been found in the previous firmware versions. There are also quite a few changes to existing features, as well as a good list of new features that you get with this update. These are not all things that you can demonstrate in a video, and some of them aren't even for the Wing rack that I have. They're for the compact, so be sure to check out the release notes yourself and leave any questions you have down in the comments below if there's anything I didn't cover that you need more information on. It's a good time to mention that they have also released updates for the Wing Edit software, as well as the CoPilot software that you can download for your mobile devices. So we're using the Edit software here. It's got a lot of changes as well, and you can check all of those out in the release notes that come along with that download if you're interested in those details. I won't go through them all in this video. First up on changes, they've made it so that all of the dynamic processors are now available in both the gate and the compressor slot. So where you would normally default to having the gate, you can choose any of the dynamics processors, and that's the same for down here in the compressor. So that's pretty handy and gives you a little bit more flexibility. On the Ducker plugin, they've changed the hold time to go all the way out to 4,000 milliseconds. In both the gate and the Ducker plugins, they've added infinite range as an option there. So you can go all the way out to infinite on the range. And they've also done something with the channel source colors, optimizing them for TFT displays. So that's interesting. They've also expanded the remote client number from 16 to 24 as long as your network bandwidth supports the additional users. So that's helpful for anybody that's got multiple people controlling one mixer. As we look at the dynamics processors, we can see here that we have the option to key them off of themselves or a different source. And then they've also got a key filter, so you can just choose one portion of the key source to trigger the compressor on the entire signal. And one of the changes they've made is under the filter types, they've added a notch filter. If we head over to the crossover mode, we can see that they've made a change here to the visualization here so that everything in the shaded area is what is going to be compressed. And we've also got some options there so that you can choose just what part of the signal is being compressed. So the key lets you choose what signal or what part of the signal is triggering the compressor, and then the crossover mode allows you to limit what part of the signal is actually being compressed, like a dynamic EQ, right? They have added an option to stop the SD recording when an error pops up if you're in the middle of a recording, so that's a really helpful addition. They have changed the way the console functions now so that if you reinitialize the console using this button here in the setup, that will overwrite the parameters selected in the global safe screen. And finally, on the Auto Rider plugin, they have changed the maximum hold time to infinite. So first up for additions, Behringer has figured out that people want to use the Wave Sound Grid module in the Wing Dante expansion card, much like people wanted to take the Dante module off that card and put it internally into the Wing. So they've made that an officially supported thing that you can do now, and there are instructions and documentation on that whole situation. This firmware gives us 3 new compressors to check out and to use. We've got an even 88 compressor here, and I'm actually using the even 88 gate, which you can pair it with on my vocal channel. I'm using that as an expander. Actually, you can see the way I've got it set up here. There's also a simple 1-knob compressor that gives you 1 knob for gain reduction, as well as an auto gain on and off option. So if you turn that auto gain off and then use the makeup gain manually, you can get a little bit more control with that. And then of course you still have the keying and filtering for the key source options like you do on all the dynamics. In addition to that, they've given us an LMT compressor, which is an emulator of the compressor included on a talkback bus of a famous analog console. The aux channels now have expanded noise gate and compressor selection available, which is very nice. And on the monitoring section, we also get direct inputs as an option for headphone and speaker monitoring. So that can be very useful depending on how you've got your monitoring set up and what you're using the mixer for. On the sources screen now, you can select multiple inputs by clicking and dragging, and then whatever changes you make will apply to all of those highlighted channels. So that can really speed things up, I would imagine. They've given you access to preamp gain and phantom power controls on the user patches screen. There's an additional recorder on these mixers if you don't have the SD cards installed in that option slot in the back. You can record 2-track or 4-track recording and do 4-track playback from a USB stick inserted into the front USB port on the mixer. And they've added the ability to change the record path by using the record path button now on the screen. So very useful. So thanks for hanging out with me on this quick rundown of version 3.1 on the Wing consoles. I don't bring it up very often, but somebody did complain recently about the ads in these videos. And if you want to watch my videos with no ads, you can do that over on my Patreon. It's linked below. I've got that option set to just $1 a month over there on Patreon, and I don't keep all of that. So if you want to help support the channel and watch these videos with no ads, I'd love to see you there. Or you can join the channel here on YouTube or use the thanks button down below this video as well. It really does help. Thanks so much.